Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm just sitting here eating my dinner, not my lunch, but my dinner. Um, some salad and some leftover chicken from last night. Last night I went to see Cynthia Eviro, the lady from Wicked. I think she's won maybe a Tony's or whatever. Up at Ravinia in Highland Park, Illinois. It was my first time going. I'm going to show a few clips from it. It was my first time going, and I really, really enjoyed myself. I had good company, good friends, well, hopefully friends in the near future, and good wine. I bought some black-owned wine called Ventrendi Peach. I don't know if it's a Moscato. I think it's just a white wine, but it was really good. And I bought some Triple X Blueberry Moscato. Triple X Blueberry Moscato, child. Both of those wines were so potent. So me and my friend, we were the only two drinking. And I kind of got kind of bubbly, but I had a good time, good time, good time. So today, I was just basically trying to recoup, relax, and everything. So, but this is what I want to talk about. Because the first thing I got up this morning and I looked at Instagram, and there was a post on Tasha K's timeline that said, they had a gentleman saying, an African American gentleman, saying that he didn't, I guess this lady was recording him, maybe they got into it or something like that. And he was saying that he does not date women except like in their 20s and 30s, and he was 50 plus. I think he was like 55. He had the typical long, the beard, white beard. He was pretty fit for his age. He looked pretty good for his age. But this is my thing. He said he doesn't date because he's a man of affluence, with a little money. Couldn't have had that much money, because if he did, he wouldn't have came out on that film, on that little tape that she was making, and said all those things. So he couldn't have had that much money, because a person that has that much money does not entertain things like, I'm going to tell you why we don't date women. Some women, he didn't say all, but he said some women, which is a good thing. Older women, because they have too much baggage. We have too much baggage. Some women have too much baggage. So I was like, what was thundering? I was like, too much baggage. I'm like, what does that mean? That could mean a myriad of things. I like to use the word myriad. That could be divorce, baggage, bad relationships, baggage, etc., right? But he's arrived to this point in his life where he's made a decision. Apparently he's, 55 plus or 50 plus or whatever it is. I think he was like close to 60. He just had the beard to kind of hide his face, with the lines and whatever. The beard was hiding all that, right? Here's my thing. If he's, made this decision, it's probably because he's had some bad relationships or has been burned by women in his age group, or he's been around the block 1,000 couple of times and he's dated older women his age. He's picked them out. Now he's doing the picking, he's doing the choosing. And they have a lot of baggage. And he's probably part of the baggage. You know, he probably, you know, had a lot of relationships or some relationships where he became the baggage, you know. But like I said, if a man had that much money, he said that's why men of substance, he didn't say substance, he said men that are affluent, or not even affluent, just men that have money. Don't fool with y'all aunties, because you all have too much baggage, too many problems. And she'd be like, well, I have you on video saying that you only date men and date women in their 20s and 30s because yada yada yada, we got this, right? And he was like, auntie, he was being very disrespectful. I don't know what went down before all the film went up. That's the thing, you can never know what went down before the camera came out and they got heated. What happened before that? How did this exchange even start? What were you doing even approaching this man, or vice versa, in a nice establishment in the first place? I don't know what happened. And she was like, she wanted to get rich off of the film, right? She probably will, because Tasha K is a very well-known influencer. So he's going to date women in just their 20s and 30s specifically. He's not going to even look at a woman in her 40s, 50s, and maybe even 60s. He prefers 20s and 30s. This is my thing. You prefer 20s and 30s, but you're attributing to their future baggage and vice versa, because they're not interested in you per se. They look at you as his daddy or whatever. He wasn't even all that. To me, he wasn't the kind of man that, he was alright, He was alright. He was, he was dressed nice. I dressed nice. He had a beard. I don't have a beard. I'm going to leave that one alone. Because sometimes I do. But he had a nice, white little beard. It was white. It wasn't gray. It was white. So which tells me that he was closer to 60, But why put down women just because you don't date them? If you date younger women, don't put older women down and just say, hey, I don't date you all because y'all got too much baggage. But you're probably part of the baggage. You're probably part of the problem, My thing is, we catch hell as black women. We catch hell everywhere we go. I don't care where we go, we catch it, okay? In America. I can't speak for abroad. I've never been abroad yet. I haven't been out the country per se, except to islands in Canada, something like that. But we catch it. And we catch it inside our community, and we catch it outside our community. So why not, if you're all of that, you wouldn't even, you would have let that go. You would have said, yes, lady, understand or whatever. Have a nice day, and kept shelling your peas, as Miss Jameson, my godmother, would say. Just keep shelling your peas. That means minding your own business, right? But apparently he's a flaunter. He had to flaunt the fact that he got money. He had to flaunt the fact that he got 20-something-year-old women. He's, and maybe he's having intimate things happen with these women. Maybe he's not. But that's what he prefers. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, just have some class. All you had to do was walk away from that lady. That was kind of abusive. It was verbally abusive. It was verbally abusive to say, Auntie, that's why I don't deal with your type of women, you older women. So it was verbally abusive to even say that. So apparently, I mean, if you got a business, you can walk away. If you're a self-made man, you got a business, you're running a business, you got a reputation, you can walk away from that foolishness. You can walk away. And everybody, you don't have to broadcast it. Just do you, boo. Why you gotta broadcast that you? I prefer women in their 20s and 30s, because I can easily, they can get along. They don't have all that baggage. Yeah, but it's a vicious circle. You gonna cause some of that baggage, baby. In the future, they're gonna have baggage. Everybody got baggage. Everybody got baggage. It's life. It's just how you choose to handle that baggage. If you choose to drag shit and stuff into your next relationship, you do that. That's you. That's on you. Just your choice. You don't have to drag baggage, men or women. You don't have to drag nothing. It's kind of hard. You kind of have things and thoughts in the back of your mind, but don't snap out. Don't snap out because Joe Blow did you this way, and you think Joe Current is going to do you this way. No, don't snap out. Just wait and see what happens. Don't snap out. You know better. It's no reason to snap out because you've been there, done that, and you can move on because you got through it. Whatever it is, whatever it was, you got through it with that person. That man, that woman, move on. Don't even let it upset you anymore. You be like, oh, no, I ain't about to do this. I'm not about to do this. And you make that choice. But yeah, I was just fascinated with that comment because it has so many different layers. So many different layers. So many different. But men, if, you choose older. If you choose younger women, please don't put down older women on national, international, world platforms. Don't do that. That is so tacky. That's so tacky. And if you like your character lacks that, what's wrong with you? What's up with you? Have you been burned by these aunties that you're talking about? Have you been burned by them? Have you been hurt by them? Or you just like it? That's what pumps you up. That's what makes you feel better about yourself. Is putting down some women that do that, right? So yeah, I'm not here to put down anybody. I'm not here to put down anybody because we've all walked different paths in this lifetime. And hopefully and prayerfully you have learned from your mistakes. But I'm just saying, gentlemen, be respectful. Man, it would have looked so cold if he would have said, you know what, lady, you know what, black queen or whatever, or you know what, young woman or older woman or whatever. It would look so smooth for him to say, I'm not going to comment on that. I respect your opinion and everything. Have a nice day. That's all he had to say. Going back and forth with a woman, you look like you're a bully. That's just like when Obama and McCain was running for president. And Obama was like, I can't whoop on an old man. He was like, I can't whoop on an old man. I can't berate him like that. He's an old, he respected him. He respected him and his character looked better. It is better to have character than to actually just try to win an argument or win something. It's actually better to have character about yourself than to just whoop on somebody, whoop on a woman, because women, we gonna anyway. Why not just walk it off? That's all I'm saying. That's all I got. I don't let things like that upset me. My man is older than me by a couple of years. So what? I've had relationships where men were younger than me. So what? If that's what you prefer, you stay in your lane. Be respectful. Be character driven. Make your character, seem like it's Obama-ish. I'm just using an example. And just walk away. You didn't have to go off the gamut like that. So if I find the video and I can magically clip it in here, I'll put it in here. But if not, go on Tasha K's Instagram or whatever, and you'll find a dude in an orange shirt with a white beard and a woman holding the camera. Okay. So that's my commentary. I think that's my first commentary, y'all, about a video. I'm so proud of myself. But anywho, you all have a blessed day. I'm going to try to finish this. I'm full. I had a lot of chicken left over. Last night I bought some honey chicken wings from our local store here. And nobody ate them. So I said, well, I'll just take them home. And me and my guy, we'll smash them out. So anyway, y'all have a blessed evening. And I will talk to you real soon. And remember, your character is everything. Everything, baby. That's first, okay? Don't go down in the gutter with people just because they want to try to take you there, okay? All right, y'all. Peace. Love you much. Thanks for watching. This is Thick Chick. And you all have a blessed day, okay? On purpose. Love you much.